What is your favorite fight to watch of all time? I asked fighters that question in the latest edition of MMA Pros Pick.
I remember Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen is a fun one for me because I remember where I was and I was having this huge party and a huge watch party at my house. And just, I mean, when you thought Chael had this chance of like pulling off the win, and then I love fights that are, you know, all over the place, back and forth. I remember where I was when Anthony Pettis landed the Showtime kick, and I thought he was going to finish Benson in that moment. And I was in a bar in California, and no one else was watching MMA. It was like me and my husband watching this one TV that we made them put on the fights, and so no one else knew what was going on. And I was like, I probably had a few drinks. I was like, oh my gosh, and like flipping out, and everybody looked like, what the hell's wrong with this lady? But yeah, so those fights where like I can point to where I was are probably the ones that stick out the most for me. But gosh, I could never make a top 10. I just couldn't do it. It's like, who's your favorite kid? I mean, I only have one kid, so I can tell you, but you know, if I had more than one.
Mirko Krokop against Fedor Emelianenko in Pride.
Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner hits similar every time I like see highlights and stuff of it, because it's momentous, you know, and what we know came from it, which is basically the UFC in general. So anytime I see highlights of that, it does the same as it did the first time.
Jon Jones and Alex Gustafsson fought twice, right? Twice. The first one, I wasn't sure if it was 2 or 3 times they fought, but I remember I was there for both. I was there for the submission too, but I couldn't remember. But definitely their first fight was one of my favorite fights of all time. Yeah, the footwork that Alexander was displaying, the way that Jon Jones had been showing up in all his fights, and to be challenged like that with a taller guy finally that had good boxing, like that fight for me was, as a fan, it was epic. It was super cool to be part of it. The truth is, though, you know, when you go to it, another reason you got to respect Jon Jones is that's the dark times thing that I was talking about. Like, Jones pulled it out in the dark times in the 5th round when you're hurt, your lips are sliced in half. You've been spinning elbows, you've been wrestled. This is when your body's not there. It's just you're chopped down. I don't care who you are no matter who you are in the world. They both were beat to death by that 5th round. They were both just beat down, pain. And Jones, he just like pushed right through it and pulled that championship spirit out, and you saw it, and you can't look at it any other way. Gustafsson is my boy. Like, I love that dude. And I've watched him in the gym knock out 3-4 people back to back. You know what I mean? And I've seen him was impressive. And then, you know, even just push through in that 5th round, like to really see that last stretch of like, I've got just the heart that it takes with that amount of pain and that amount of beating that both those men took. Yeah, I respect those guys so much.
McGregor and Jose Aldo, and was in Rio de Janeiro, and McGregor was talking a lot. Nossa, I didn't like because Jose Aldo lost, but another one was against Kobe, Rafael dos Anjos and Kobe. I was there, and the public was insane and screaming a lot. I like to watch because I remember the feeling was crazy. No,
recently, I actually really I've been watching the Dustin Poirier and the Dan Hooker fight a lot recently. I'll just set that on, get a workout in. I'll either be on the treadmill or on my bike, and I love watching that.
Okay, I think honestly, I remember when I was younger, Michelle Waterson versus Jessica Penne was a huge fight that stuck out to me. I remember watching that fight as like a kid and being like thinking it was like so cool. Like there were so many crazy scrambles. They were both so tough, and I think that's like another fight that kind of helped me kind of like fall in love with sport too, because I saw them just going at it crazy in Invicta, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. So
it's so funny because I was literally just talking about this last night. Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler was probably one of my favorites.
Lando Venata and Tony Ferguson. Honestly, I think that was Lando's first one. Yeah, I think that was his debut, right? Yep, that's still hands down one of my all-time favorite fights.